How can a team whose scarlet machines once ruled entire eras now find itself gasping for answers before a season has truly begun? That riddle is swirling through Maranello in the 2025 Formula One campaign, where Ferrari's SF25 flashes outright pace in bright sparks, yet sinks into the shadows on Sundays. Lewis Hamilton, holder of 7 world titles, insists the speed is there somewhere. Charles Leclerc shares that conviction, and still, the podiums refuse to come. What invisible hand is tugging the Scuderia backwards? Keep watching. Each layer we peel away carries a twist no one saw coming. Practice sessions tempt Ferrari's engineers with stopwatch-shattering sector times. Rivals admit the car looks implanted through sweeping bends. Yet when lights go out on race day, the SF25 fades like dusk. Bright, then abruptly gone. The prime suspect hides in the rear suspension, deliberately configured to let the car sit under power and seal its ground effect tunnels. Trouble begins when that ride height deviates by a few millimeters. Raise the chassis to calm bouncing, and downforce evaporates. Lower it for grip, and steering stalls in chilly understeer. The operating window is so narrow that a modest track temperature swing pushes Ferrari into set-up limbo while McLaren and Red Bull romp ahead. But that is only the first crack in a complicated puzzle. When 40-year-old Hamilton stunned the paddock last winter by swapping silver for red, Tifosi pictured an instant renaissance. Hope seemed justified in Shanghai. He grabbed pole for the season's opening sprint and converted it into a flawless victory, Ferrari's first sprint triumph in years. Yet the glory lasted barely 24 hours. In the Grand Prix, tyre temperature headaches and ride height woes dragged both Ferraris backward. Hamilton slipped outside the points, while Leclerc finished a lonely 10th. Hamilton told reporters the car holds performance we just cannot use right now. Momentum evaporated again. Team principal Frédéric Vasseur has circled the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix as the moment to prove the concept. Imola's flowing middle sector suits the SF25's high-speed balance, while gentler curbs soften the suspension's temper. A lighter front wing awaits immediate debut, aimed at cleaning airflow toward the rear beam wing. 2 weeks later in Barcelona, Ferrari plans a second phase, revised end plates and delicately trimmed floor edges, targeting stability under braking. The calendar gifts no breathing room. Imola on the 3rd weekend of May, then Spain and Monaco, back-to-back. A strong result on home soil could postpone a risky rear-end overhaul. A stumble might force the factory to fast-track radical suspension surgery, despite meagre wind tunnel hours. For Hamilton, the stakes are obvious. Deliver in front of the Tifosi, or see rivals accelerate into the distance. Under humid Florida skies, Ferrari's weekend began brightly with Hamilton finishing 3rd in the sprint. 24 hours later, the field reshuffled. Both red cars dropped outside the top 10 in qualifying, and the race turned into a damage limitation slog. Hamilton clawed his way from 12th to 8th, while debating tyre pressures and strategy over crackling radio lines. Leclerc, edging him for 7th, complained the duo were costing each other precious tenths. The points haul was meagre, the frustration thick, yet the audio revealed something deeper. 2 world-class drivers, wrestling not simply with competitors, but with an unpredictable machine. Leclerc began the year intent on avenging last season's missed crown. Instead, he lies 5th in the standings, nearly 80 points adrift of championship leader Oscar Piastri. In Miami, he clipped a wall in the formation lap and shrugged that even perfection might only have yielded 6th. There were no miracles in the car today, all right, he said, adding that 7 of the lost positions were down to the machine, not the drivers. He fears Monaco, his home circuit, and site of last year's victory, could be a nightmare if slow corner traction remains elusive. Leclerc's plain-spoken doubts have sharpened attention on Ferrari's engineering shortfalls and raised public pressure for swift change. Ferrari's engineering brief emphasized generating colossal ground effect without sacrificing tyre life. The solution? Softer rear-end kinematics, allowing generous squat under throttle. On paper, the concept promised stability through high-speed arcs and ruthless acceleration out of low-speed turns. On asphalt, every bump or curb knocks ride height out of its sweet spot, shredding the carefully plotted aero map. The SF25 becomes non-linear. One corner snap understeers, the next power drifts. Attempts to tame its mood swings via a pull rod front-end tweak added anti-dive but amplified coupling effects. Now designers debate uprooting the rear, relocated wishbones, stiffer rockers, fresh dampers. But wholesale surgery mid-season could swallow precious simulator hours and drag the team through another long learning curve. Vasseur must decide whether to triple down on optimization or turn the page entirely. New chassis dimensions, low-carbon fuel and active aero will detonate current design doctrines in 2026. Ferrari has weeks, not months, to judge whether ringing tenths from the SF25 is worth the wind tunnel schedule. Switch focus early and surrender the present fight, or press on now and risk arriving late to the next revolution. Hamilton and Leclerc plead for immediate fixes. They are racers, wired to chase the next checkered flag. But leadership knows another season, pacifying a temperamental platform, could leave the Scuderia behind when the rulebook flips. Meanwhile, McLaren capitalises. Piastri's 4 wins in 6 events have built a 16-point cushion over teammate Lando Norris, with Max Verstappen lurking a further 16 back. Every Grand Prix Ferrari spends experimenting is another where that gap widens. Ferrari stands balanced on the thinnest of knife edges. Beneath that famous crimson paintwork lurks a machine that can torch the timing screens in a single sector, yet stumble the very next lap. Proof that raw speed alone never guarantees silverware. Lewis Hamilton's belief in the project remains ironclad, the conviction of a driver who has already dragged one faltering team to the summit. Charles Leclerc counters with blunt honesty, reminding engineers and executives alike that sentiment never adds points to the constructors' tally. Their combined perspectives light the way forward, optimism tempered by hard-nosed realism. In the coming stretch, Imola's sweeping Ravazza curves, Barcelona's merciless aerotest carousel, Monaco's unforgiving Armco gauntlet, the SF25, will face 3 starkly different examinations. Succeed in even 2 of them, and the season could pivot from frustration to redemption. Repeat the stumbles of Miami, and management will have little choice but to ring-fence resources for the 2026 overhaul. That looming rules revolution is no distant speck. It is a freight train rushing down the calendar, threatening to flatten any squad still wrestling old ghosts when January dawns. Yet there is another truth whispering through the paddock. Never underestimate what momentum inside Ferrari's walls can unleash. One breakthrough in suspension kinematics, one flawless execution of that lighter front wing, and the narrative can swing overnight. Maranello's storied halls have weathered droughts before, only to erupt in championship-winning fury when the right spark caught the right kindling. Over the next handful of races, we will watch engineers scramble for tenths, strategists gamble tyre compounds, and 2 elite drivers fight to turn potential energy into trophies. We may witness the rebirth of a legend clad in scarlet, or see a cautionary tale etched into yet another season's record book. Either outcome will shape the Scuderia's destiny for years to come. And for fans everywhere, whether draped in red or not, that high-wire suspense makes it impossible to look away, because every lap from here could be the one that decides Ferrari's future.